What up, world? This your boy News, representing Ringside Rave all day. Y'all know what it is with me, man. Today, episode 58 of the Fade Hour. I will be your host tonight. Maul, the Golden Voice, couldn't make it, but it's cool because y'all already know I can hold down the fort. Um, I got a little bit of lemon haze on my side, so I'm already feeling real laid back and real chill, real ready to talk. I wanna talk today. I don't wanna argue. I don't wanna talk. Today's episode is called Has the Big Drama Show Jumped the Shark? And my fellow partners with me today, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Smoke. Unlike normal, which is a change, I actually do got the Chronic on deck. I got the Voodoo Ranger on deck, and we're gonna talk about Triple G catching the 2 or 3 piece from Drake's Bodyguard. So yeah, let's get to it.
What up, yo? It's Pat Scorpion, the New England representative, and I'm just chilling right now with my glass of Merlot. When we're going to talk about Triple G. Bring a big drama show to Madison Square Garden, and creating some highlights. Unlike Canelo and Jacobs, there was no highlights there. So let's get to it.
Yes, sir. So basically, what the episode is about, y'all. I want to give the breakdown of what we're about to do. Okay, so when I say
Break it down.
or when we ask, has the big drama show jumped the shark? Basically, GGG had a fight this weekend, and even though it wasn't a big fight at all, I mean, he's fighting Steve Rose. I mean, he could have fought me, he could have fought Pat, he could have fought Smoke. It
Yeah,
would have been the same result. You know what I
comparable
mean?
for sure.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I would have lasted longer because I would have ran. So yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I'm not getting knocked out. So I'm pulling the straight AB. I ain't throwing no punches. I'm shaking my head. I'm clenching, all that. But what I want to say is, has the big drama show jumped the shark? Because GGG is a pay-per-view fighter not long ago. GGG is a
Uh,
multi-million dollar commanding fighter not long ago, right? That's what he is. But yet the buzz wasn't the same for him coming back for his first fight since we seen him versus Canelo. And we know he made easy work of Steve Rose. I mean, he did have a little trouble,
uh,
which we're going to talk about. But even with that, with him getting the knockout, it hasn't been the same reception afterwards. You know what I mean? For a GGG type knockout and everything like that. So I want to know, like, what's changed with GG? Like, has the fans changed? Like how we look at him? Has our enthusiasm changed? Do we look at him like, you know how when you do something for a certain amount of time, it just becomes normal or usual? I want to get into that today. So we're gonna do that with topics today. And so we're gonna first talk about how GGG and Rose went. And Smoke, I'm gonna let you start it off.
all right. Uh, Triple G, you not had a fight against Steve Rolls, aka Drake's Bodyguard, this weekend, and I didn't catch it live because why would you stay in to watch the number 2 or 3 160 pounder fight the number 79 160 pounder at a catch weight? You wouldn't. But I did catch the replay, and I was actually pretty surprised because Triple G looked good in all the preparation. It looked like Jonathan Banks really had him. Looks like P just joined the building. What up, P?
What up? What up?
So I'm just going into my Triple G analysis. So Triple G looked pretty good leading up to the fight, but the first 3 rounds. Now, granted, he was up. It was 2-1 either way after 3 rounds, depending on how you score it. But Steve Rolls, who I've never seen box before, was landing clean shots on Triple G. And it was really surprising because Triple G's offense was there, but it seemed like his defense wasn't. And I don't know if that was from the 9-month layoff, the new trainer, or whatever, but he seemed slower than normal. And he really seemed like I'm trying to think of the right word. He seemed out of his comfort zone, which is weird because he scored his first knockout in a long time. I think the fights with Canelo did have a profound effect on him, which we'll get to later. But overall, knowing his competition, I give his performance like a B minus for his debut on DAZN.
Honestly, I think he looked more stiff than slow when you said that. Just in my
Okay,
opinion.
I can see that.
Like it seemed like he's really just getting back into the swing of things, especially with a new trainer. They just looked off. I feel like he wasn't really. I don't know if that was really what he was trying to execute the game plan with Banks, and I just feel like it was off. I mean, it's their first fight together, so I don't expect them to work magic just off the bat. But it seemed a little bit off to me, being honest. But it was enough to get the job done.
I mean, my takeaway from the fight was, I mean, same as yours, P. Because I don't think Triple G was with Banks for a long. I mean, it wasn't like they had a long camp or whatever. So most likely, I'm thinking that too. That Banks probably did a lot of conditioning. I think did a lot more conditioning him than maybe strategy. Because like I said, Triple G looked, he looked good. He looked like how he used to look, a couple years ago or whatever. But I'm thinking that maybe the strategy may just come, for the rest of his, the 5 fights that are in his contract. But yeah, I mean, I had a feeling as a watching this fight, I just figured, Triple G obviously hit, being able for so long. I mean, sometimes it takes a while to erase what what you knew before and actually implement what's new. So that was my takeaway from it. And Steve Rolls, to his credit, he came to fight. I mean, he didn't come to lay down. He had his moments here and there. Nothing that alarmed me because I mean, I don't think he really hurt Triple G at all. I mean, but yeah, fourth round, Triple G was like, he was patient. And that was one thing.
No, it was a dope knockout. I mean, I will say that it was
Yeah.
the first dope knockout in like what 3. Well, I mean, I guess if you count the fight against Vanes. But yeah, nah. I mean, in terms of getting the job done, yeah, he got the job done. He got the knockout. But I mean, you can't deny that something just looked like it wasn't there. Maybe
But
it's
let
the
me
fact
ask you
that
this. Let me ask you this. Let me jump in because, of course, I'm being the referee tonight, so I'm not going to be talking as much. I'm going to ask y'all this. So y'all all gave y'all a breakdown of GGG. What grade would you give GGG? Now, mind you, this is GGG coming up his first fight since fighting Canelo in September. So that's a what? 9-month layoff. He's like 38 years old now.
37.
37 years old. First fight off versus Steve Rose caliber opponent. What letter grade would you give GGG?
I mean, it's to me it's a solid B. I mean, like I said, there's room for improvement, but considering all the circumstances and like I said, he did. I mean, he spent. I mean, it wasn't like it was a struggle fight that lasted like 10 or 11 rounds and Steve Rose giving them a boatload of trouble and then GG stopped him. Then I'd be like saying, ooh, maybe he really slipped, but he got him out there in 4 violently. So I mean, B is a solid grade for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say about B minus, but yeah, about a B.
So I would say that overall, Triple G is a B plus fighter. I think he gave a B minus, C plus performance. Yeah, but he got the job done, and that's the thing. The thing is that when he was fighting dudes like Daniel Gale or Martin Macklin or insert Marco Rubio or whatever, he was knocking them out, with the exception of Macklin, in less rounds than he did with Steve Rolls. And, those guys were, and I don't want to call them jobbers, but they weren't great opponents. So I think the fact that it was Steve Rolls plays a big part into it. Because Steve Rolls, honestly, I mean, he got a couple punches off, but he didn't look like he was that great of a fighter.
To be fair, Daniel Gill at the time was a top 5 middleweight at the time, and a champ, and was a
Yeah,
champion at
but-
one point.
He was a
So it
unified
was,
So the
Rubio
thing
is
is,
actually one of the harder punches in that division.
so the thing is, when you go back and you look at those things, and they're like, oh, at the time he held da 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 da. It until the past like 2 years, 160 has been garbage. 160 has been absolute trash. And so when I say Daniel Gale, Martin Macklin, I'm not saying that like they're
Matthew Macklin.
yeah, exactly. Um,
I
like
think you're
from
just
the
reading the
time,
box spec. You don't know what actually went on those divisions.
Let me ask
uh,
this. Let me ask
okay.
this. And first, let's say, what's up to Trick? Because of course he's in the chat box.
What up,
You
dog?
know. Yeah, yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start asking when you come in the chat box. When you come in, we got to give it a name. We got to give it a name, y'all. But when you over there, we got to call it
The hot box.
the hot box. I like that. We call it the hot box. When you chilling in the hot box, you got to tell us what you chilling with. Now, Trick said that he's tuning in after a nice drunk slash high jog, right? So we need to know what level he's on with us. Secondly, though, as I come back to you guys, I don't want to get too far into GGG's resume without asking, with GGG's performance last night, how do you think that sets up a Canelo fight? Or how did it look? Like, did it make you anticipate? Like, did it make you want to see Canelo versus GGG anymore? Did it make you be like, oh, no, GGG needs to get himself together because he's not about to be Canelo? Like, how did it make you feel? Because that's all GGG wants. He's basically on stalker mode when it comes to Canelo right now. Canelo goes to the zone. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say Shannon Briggs mode. He's basically Canelo's Shannon Briggs right now. He go to the zone, I'm going to the zone. You know what I mean? So do you think that this gets him a step closer to the Canelo fight as far as in your mind? Or would you like to see GGG versus another opponent?
I mean, considering that we know the business of what's going to happen, it's all but confirmed that this fight's coming next. You know, me personally, I welcome it. It's, you know, I have no problem with seeing Triple G and Canelo 3. I don't have an issue with it. So, yeah, you know, anything that Canelo gets more pride being out of him, it's all good.
Yeah.
I would rather see Canelo or Triple G fight Andrade.
Me too. I second that.
Honestly, I think that I don't think that Triple G has earned a Canelo fight yet because he only fought Steve Rolls after losing to Canelo. Andrade is the champion. I would much rather see Canelo Andrade than Canelo Triple G3. And if the Steve Rolls fight is any indication, then Triple G is going to lose against Canelo emphatically if they fight. Just my opinion.
Man. What about you, P?
I mean, what about if? Oh, which I second his opinion about. I think either Andre should be the guys that they fight, either one, Canelo or Triple G. But I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to fight next. They're going to be the rubber match. But I feel like Andre should get that shot because he's a champion and he's kept busy and he's an intriguing matchup because, in my opinion, he's one of the top guys as far as talent-wise in the division, if not the top guy. So I want to see him against these other top guys. So, like, it's just from an intrigue, but I understand the business-wise, it's going to be a rubber match because it just makes too much sense.
With Canelo and GGG.
Yeah.
Like,
News, what you think?
I mean, I think it's a good fight. Of course, I didn't think neither of the first two fights were bad at all. I thought that both of them were really close fights. Could have went either way. I thought Canelo lost the first fight. I thought Canelo won the second fight. But I wouldn't mind seeing it the third time. The thing I do mind though is that GGG keeps cutting the line, and that's what I don't like. I don't like him losing to Canelo, fighting a Kell Brook or Vanes Martirosyan, and then getting Canelo again, then fighting the Steve Rose, and then getting Canelo again. It's like I mean, I don't really like that. Like, you should have to go ahead and beat somebody because that's exactly what he told everybody else. He may not told Canelo that, but we knew. Well, I knew from the beginning. Then I used to say it that GGG was really chasing the bag, and that's what Canelo represents. He don't really care about those belts, and right now you can see he does not care about them belts.
I mean, so I'm. It's funny, and this is kind of the whole Triple G persona, or not persona, but what we've been led to believe over the years. First, it's all about the belts, unifying the division, so on and so forth. Then, Abel was his mouthpiece, and he talked a lot of shit about 154 to 168. As we're seeing after Triple G comes off a loss and he's kind of at the end of his career, and I know Pat will have something to say about this, whether it's the interviews or the way that he's fighting or just everything, you kind of see what everyone was talking about all along. And I think it's that Triple G isn't the fighter that everyone thought that he was.
Well,
I don't know.
to be fair with the whole belts thing and all that, I mean, I at this point he shouldn't be about the belts simply because he's a household name. When you're like usually people that want the belts are people that are trying to really get to that top level of like a name, and guys that really wouldn't be looked at unless they had a belt. Because back in the day, nobody wanted to fight Triple G. So he wanted all the belts because it's like, okay, well, if I get belts, now they'll fight me. So now he's past belts to the point where he doesn't need a belt. That's just how it goes. You use the belts to get you over, and once you're over, you don't need them anymore.
In my opinion, just figuring out how it goes. I mean, like I said, the reason why Canelo got put in a situation is, as we all know, Miguel Cotto didn't want to face Triple G, and Miguel Cotto had the WBC belt and the lineal title for middleweight. So, and Triple G had his focus on him, and then Cotto did what he did before and gave up the belt. Triple G got that belt, and then afterwards, Canelo faced Cotto, and then Canelo got that fight, and bam, Canelo was in that spot, and it was, I know we had back and forth about the whole 155, 156 catchweight or whatever bullshit that they were spouting at the time. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Canelo, Triple G wanted to be the man of the division, and then he had 3 belts. I mean, there was a reason why he was going for it. I mean, even now, Canelo has 3 of the 4 middleweight belts and the lineal status. I mean, to me, it's not like he's going. I mean, if Canelo didn't have any of that shit and going after him, then I'll be like, okay, he's about the money. But he clearly wants something from other than money because he has the bag now. But he wants something from Canelo that he deserves, in my opinion. So that's what it is.
Well, I look at it like I like it. I like the new GGG. I like the real GGG. The character. He's a good boy. I just box. That guy. I just won all the belts. That guy. He was phony. He wasn't the real GGG. The real GGG is the one now that's selling Charlo and Andrade. Get out of my way, man. That's the real
Drama show.
GGG. I like this one. This is the guy they
Drama
was
show.
talking about. They used to be the bully back in the days growing up in Kazakhstan. Hopefully, he said that right. They gave us the stories. We've heard the stories about how GGG used to be. He came over to the United States with an image to present himself, with him being the new Mexican style, all this stuff. Well, now he don't care. He getting the money from the zone. Get Abel Sanchez out of here. I don't have to fight Charlo and Andrade no more. Don't talk to me about them. I'm not fighting them. I want Canelo. And then, so at the other side, as a hardcore fan of the sport, I can't really get mad at GGG because he's saying, I don't want to fight Charlo and Andrade. For what? I want to fight Canelo. He's the best fighter in the division. That's the guy I fought twice, and he barely beat me twice. So at the same time,
thing is, news about that is that Triple G has Danny Jacobs as a win on his resume. That's pretty much the only good win. And so Charlo or Andrade.
Yeah, but let me say this. Charlo
Same.
nor Andrade even have a Jacobs win.
Yep.
So
No, they
and-
don't.
We just seen Charlo struggle against
yeah,
Korobov.
yeah. I mean, so Triple G could
And Andre
easily
got knocked out by Fox, of all people.
So it's like I can't really put them on the same level. Like in the conversation I'm having, again, he went life and death with Canelo. He went life and death with Korobov. So
yeah,
it's like,
no. I mean, the thing is that you don't, and I get that. Like, I understand. Like, oh yeah, okay, let me push my way to the front, but you don't deserve it. So it's like, nah, dude. Like, go and fight a Charlo, earn that fight.
but you know
Go
what's
and
funny about
fight
it?
an
The
Andrade.
only person
Bring
that
a belt to
decides
the
to
table.
deserve it is Canelo.
Yep.
And as a Canelo fan, I've always said that. So if Canelo picks GGG when he don't have to, GGG deserves it. Andrade doesn't.
Huh.
Charlo doesn't. Andrade needs to fight Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo needs to fight Demetrius Andrade. We've been waiting for that fight too since they was at 154. I ain't forgot.
I mean, the
I
thing
ain't
is,
forgot about that.
everyone knows how that fight goes.
What, Andrade and Charlo?
Yeah, Andrade beats the shit out of him.
I don't know. I need to see it. I need to see
I
it.
mean,
Like,
we know. I know from a reliable source that Big Charlo gets dropped in sparring by southpaws all the time. We saw him against Korobov. He's not ready to fight a left-handed fighter. Andrade takes that one easy to me, personally.
yeah, that's why. But that's what we need to see, though. They need those fights to springboard themselves. At the end of the day, and I'll put it like this because and y'all know, I always resort back to boxing and wrestling because those sports really are intertwined. I like went from wrestling fan to a boxing fan. That was my like baton handoff. We were doing track and field. So
Yes.
for me, Jamal Charlo, I'm saying Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, Canelo, Golovkin. This is like when Andrade and Charlo is like when John Cena and Randy Orton were just starting off, trying to talk to Triple H and The Rock. That's Canelo and that's GGG. Like Andrade really needs to get him a win. Really, he really does. He has to fight Jamal Charlo. He can fight Jacobs. Like at the end of the day, I'm tired of these guys acting like they can't fight nobody, and then they say, "Well, I can't fight my friend because we're friends." Like, man, come on, dude. Come on, dude. I'm sick of that too.
Well, the only thing with at least with
I mean,
the only
Sick of
thing
that
isn't
too,
it
man.
Broner,
The issue,
my boy, I can't fight him guy?
the issue with that news, the issue with that analogy that you're talking about is, well, you're saying, well, that like in that instance with the wrestling instance, you're saying,
I'm talking
that,
about
like,
John Cena and Randy
yeah,
Orton
John
starting off back.
Cena, yeah. So you're saying they should fight each other.
That they should fight each other because they're nowhere near the star level to jump to that level. Andre can't really call out a Canelo.
Well,
You don't have that
problem
type
with
of
that,
voice.
the problem with that analogy is with those, and that is, and this is, it kind of relates to boxing as well. But from a wrestling promotion standpoint, you don't want to have a young John Cena and a young Randy Orton wrestle because you're looking at those two guys as your potential pay-per-view big stars down the road, and you want to get them to fight each other when they're both at that high level. If you get them both to fight each other, when they're at the low level coming up, you're kind of elevating one and knocking off the other, and then that hurts the other one along the line, and for it to become a bigger name. So you wait until they're both big enough. But I don't know. That's just the flaw in that comparison, and we don't want that because we don't want them to wait forever. We kind of want that fight now, right? So it's like, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it got to be.
Well, I don't
guess
know. I mean, so let's just go around. Do you guys want to see Triple G versus Canelo 3 next? Yes or no?
yes.
Sure. I don't
wouldn't
care.
mind it.
Yeah, so I don't mind it. News doesn't mind it. P says okay, and Pat says yeah. So we're unanimous that yeah, that's the fight we want to see next. Cool.
I mean, I'm not pressed to see it, but sure, I'll see it. Honestly, I almost feel like how the way I feel about Canelo and Triple G fighting over and over again is almost to the level I feel about when Pacquiao and Marquez fought over and over. It's like, sure, I'll see it because it's good fights, but it's like, whatever. If I don't need to see it over and over and over again.
But their last fight was probably the best fight of the past 10 years.
The problem, I don't know about all that. The problem is, just like with Pacquiao and Marquez, we're gonna get the same fight over and over again because of the way their styles are and how their styles mirror each other. Like because one of the things about because they can run it back 100 times and you'll have like two different people thinking that this because of how their styles go, and it almost becomes a preference. Whose style do you prefer over the others? So no matter how many times they'll fight, if they fought 10 times, I guarantee you will have some people that prefer BiGGG style that think he won all 10 times. So at that point, it's like, ugh.
Well, so he went after, and you guys can not just speak on this after I say it. He went and he changed up his trainer. Whatever the reasons are, we all know it's specifically because he caught that L to Canelo. Are you saying that you don't think that Jonathan Banks can introduce enough of a wrinkle in Triple G's game?
I'm not really a big believer in teaching an old dog new tricks. Maybe, but that might be detrimental. So I don't know. That's a good, interesting theory. But
I mean, I look at it like all he's doing is trying to see what can he do to beat Canelo. Pretty much. I mean, he was close to beating him twice. It's not like he was getting blown out or in the fight, or that Canelo just had his way with him. So like both fights were close. Both fights were could have went the other way. Both fights could have went the other way. So I don't look at it that way. Again, I see BiGGG as a strong 1A and middleweight. And I literally see, and I think that Andrade is extremely skilled, but I look at him as a B fighter. I don't look at him as a B plus fighter. He's a B middleweight. He hasn't beat anybody. Jamal Charlo the same. I can't disregard what I say about other fighters and talk about resumes and then bring Andrade's resume even to BiGGG's resume and talk with any bass in my voice.
Yeah,
so,
I get that.
I mean,
Pat, how do you feel about that?
What's that?
How do you feel about that? Can Jonathan Banks bring enough of a wrinkle to Triple G's game that he can beat Canelo?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, because Triple G, as far as career, I don't think a complete style change. I think I don't see it, but I can see Banks, trying to introduce stuff here and there.
How do you feel about that? Can Jonathan Banks bring enough of a
What the hell are you doing?
he rewound it.
No, my thing recorded. I'm watching the thing. Keep talking, Pat. Pat's a squirrel. That's a Pat. Every time something happens, Pat stops like a deer in my backyard. Just freezes.
I hear everything, but yeah, no.
Pat just freezes up like somebody kicking his door. Like, hey, what's going on?
I think Banks still can tweak his style. I'm not, but an overhaul would be disastrous. But I think Banks might have enough to actually tweak his style enough to be more effective. Maybe try to get him back to what made him really successful in the first place. Throw more of a jab, keep his hands busy.
Right. So the things that people would say that Triple G didn't do in the second Canelo fight, in the first Canelo fight, was be active enough with the jab. And anyone that knows about Jonathan Banks knows that he was kind of in the Klitschko, Manny Stewart, that kind of camp, and that you always work behind the jab when you have, when you're that type of fighter. So I think that if the sole thing that Jonathan Banks brings to Triple G is that he refocuses on working behind the jab and setting up his offense behind the jab, setting up his defense based on offense behind the jab, it'll do Triple G a world of good, and it will get him as close as he can be to to winning against Canelo. So I think Banks can help him in that regard.
Let me ask this: Canelo beats GGG for a second time in 3 fights. Where do we rank him amongst Mexican fighters? Because I got Canelo damn near. He's already
Top
top three
five.
for me. He's already top three for me. I mean, I know people are gonna bring up random fighters that fought at 126 and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, man,
No, because
GGG.
there's no real Mexican like greats above 147. That's the problem.
So you
Right.
got
And that's why you got
Chavez.
Canelo. It's only one Canelo, man. And if he goes and he beats the unbeatable GGG 2 out of 3 times and not lose, and then all of his other victories that he has, and then the belts that he has, and the divisions he's conquered, and has only lost to Floyd Mayweather, I mean, he has to rank pretty high, at least on the Mount Rushmore of Mexican boxing after this W over GGG. I ain't even talking about in the future. I'm talking about this year.
All right. So ahead
This
of
year.
Morales.
Uh,
Ahead of Morales or no?
I don't know.
Morales is on
I
there.
have to think
I'm
about
not
it.
taking Morales off until I get 4 people to try to replace Canelo.
I have
Morales
to
is
think
on
about
there. Morales is definitely on there.
I mean, you have Chavez, Salvador
Of course.
Sanchez,
Yeah.
Morales, Barrera, Canelo. I mean, that's 5 right there. It's kind of. I mean, I'm trying to think of another Mexican that I would put in there that really would bump Canelo out of there. I mean, you could realistically put him top 5.
Pat.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
After this W,
because Mexican boxing, like I said, a lot of the greats are. I mean, the great Mexican
Like,
are great. They're really great. So I mean, I'm not saying Canelo will have to conquer another. I mean, if he conquers, he goes up against another one, goes up to 168 and beats the 168 fighters there and unifies. Then he really strong like case for it, But like I said, Mexicans they judge their fighters harshly, Like I mean,
Yeah. So
it'll be hard.
I'm putting him.
It'll be
oh
hard.
wait a minute, we forgot. I forgot Ricardo Lopez.
Yeah, Ricardo Lopez. Yeah, I mean.
okay. So who? So you would rank Morales over
I'm not putting none
Canelo?
of them guys over Canelo, man. I'm putting Salvador Sanchez. Damn. Salvador Sanchez. I'm talking so fast.
Double S.
Salvador Sanchez. I'm putting him over him, of course. I'm gonna give Senior. You know what I mean? I really shouldn't have to say many much, but the only Julio Cesar Chavez that counts. I'm putting him up there. And then I got Canelo, so I just need 2 more.
Canelo's top 5. I mean, he's got to be.
I'm gonna go with.
Look at it.
I'm gonna go with Mark. Like I don't have Canelo. If Canelo beats GGG,
Oh yeah,
I got
Marquez.
Canelo over Marquez. So and I got Marquez's top 5. So Canelo would have to be in my top 5.
Yeah.
So it's like
I'm rolling with you on that one, News. I think Canelo is top 5. If he beats Triple G again, it really depends in the fashion.
that's his Triple G. Yeah, we're talking about. We were saying that he's one of the greatest middleweights to ever be, comparing him against Marvin Hagler.
Come on.
And if Canelo ends up 2 or 3 after moving up to that division and beats him, is what I'm saying though.
Everyone
can't-
knows in retrospect that was some hyperbole hype bullshit.
I can't say that until somebody else beats GGG, but Canelo.
I can.
This is fucking hard. This is fucking hard now that I'm thinking about it. How to fucking arrange all these damn Mexicans in a fucking, oh my god. I have to sit down and like fucking like, and then like not only like arrange the order, it's fucking tough. Like,
because there's too many great Mexican fighters. That's the problem. It's to really rank them.
Too many damn Mexican fighters, period. Like,
There's only 2 that's guaranteed in my top 2, and that's Sanchez and Chavez.
Yeah, you have Chavez, you have Sanchez, then it's
those are just like
Morales.
On top. That's like Hove and Drake or something. You know what I mean?
No, what?
Untouchable.
Why are you saying Drake? The fuck? Yo, what they put in your lemon haze, dog? Is it lemon hazel? Yo,
I'm
is Wilfredo Vasquez, is he Mexican?
Puerto Rican.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
not the same thing. I was gonna say same difference, but Chalk would come at me. Shout, shout
Come
out
on,
to
man.
Yeah,
I'm
Conor.
telling you, it's gonna be Canelo. Canelo
Yeah,
top
no,
5. He beat GGG one more time. He's top 5.
so I mean, especially if he beats Triple G clearly, which I think he will if they fight again. Yeah, he'd have to be top 5. I mean, for me right now, Canelo is pound for pound number 1, and I can say that without question.
I don't know, man. I just can't put nobody over Lomachenko. I just can't.
Well, just kind of to transition right now.
The
Your
dominance. The
boy
dominance has to
Andre
be exuded.
SOG Ward, commentator for ESPN, former pound for pound number 1, Kovalev destroyer, Pat's favorite boxer, put out his pound for pound top 10 right now. And guess who was at number 1?
What do you have number 1?
Guess. Like, literally guess.
Lomachenko.
No,
Crawford.
Crawford.
Yeah,
Terrence Crawford. That's his friend.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Crawford, Crawford is top talent.
Yeah.
Anyone who watches boxing should love how Crawford fights.
I wouldn't put him number
Yeah.
1, but yeah.
That's his homie. He always been supporting Terrence Crawford though. Like he's been
No,
supporting Terrence Crawford for years.
I'm not saying it in any type of way except to start a discussion.
I think he
No,
might
I'm
have had
saying, but
Usyk
that's why I
top
think
5.
he put him there. That's like
Well,
saying
that's his boy.
right. So he's gonna give him
That's
the
like
so he's gonna give
if
him that number 1 spot regardless because that's just
that's
his homie. So I don't really look at it as nothing.
yeah. So like if Tim Bradley did a pound for pound, top 10, and Terrence Crawford wasn't number 1, you'd be like, the fuck? Because y'all
Yeah,
know
that
the
would surprise me.
and all of that.
But if he did, I wouldn't say Tim Bradley's out of his mind because I know, Tim Bradley really rocks with Terrence Crawford and supports his talent. So I can't
Yeah.
it's the same like pound for pound. At the end of the day, it is
It's
heavily
just
biased in your own bias, which is why
yeah.
Lomachenko is permanently stuck to my number 1 spot. So
I got Canelo number 1, but if you
yeah,
had Loma, I mean, I'd shrug my shoulders a little bit, but it wouldn't be any disrespectful words coming back.
I think it's because y'all see that's the problem. Loma gonna have to put on another beating for y'all, man, because y'all forgot how Loma does these fighters.
And
So
you,
No,
and you know how I feel about Lomachenko, and I kept it very consistent how I felt about from jump since he started, which is why I don't have him as number 1.
well, the thing is that Loma, I mean, when here's the thing, he hasn't really struggled ever, except for when he lost to Salido. But
He struggled against Linares heavily.
and he got dropped. He
yeah, it
still
was a
won
competitive fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't call
He
it
never
struggle.
struggled.
he won the fight by knockout, and like if anyone besides Pat is gonna shit on Lomachenko, it'll be me. I think that Loma needs to go back to fighting that top flight competition, like dudes that will test him, and that's when we'll see his greatness.
But they won't get in the ring with him.
Who?
Nobody. Who at 135 want that work with Loma?
Who's at 135 right now?
Anybody. Nobody's calling his name.
Teofimo Lopez does.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
That
he's saying
dude's
it, but
come on, man.
we
He
don't
got
know.
out the way.
Huh?
He got out the way.
Aram
He
took
could
him
have
out the way.
him versus Devin. Hey, if he could have beat Devin Haney, he would have got Devin Haney up out of there. That would have been a beautiful win if he really could beat Devin Haney.
Shout
They
out.
already sparred. Move him out the way because they already seen what it is in real life. That's not a fight I want to take at this point.
Now
in my
Devin
career.
Haney's good, or maybe now he did that purposely. A tactful move by Aram and company to knock Devin Haney off. A competitor on the other side that has to face Loma, so that's an opportunity for them to kind of knock him down. Even though they're not doing it themselves, so it's kind of corny, but it is what it is.
You got to remember, Lomachenko moved up to 135. We were expecting Mikey Garcia to be there. That was the only guy 135 to fight. He could have stayed at 130.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
now he's here. He already got rid of the number one lightweight. It was Linares. He already knocked him out. So there's nobody at 135 that can beat him. We can't think the people we thought was number 3 and 4 compared to Linares can beat Lomachenko. Like Kami, he has power, but he'd get a boxing lesson.
well, if
Robert
he
Easter,
Kami
I
would
can't see
be
him being Lomachenko.
so the thing is, Kami would be the first power puncher that Loma has faced at 135. And
Man, he'll get his ears
his
boxed off.
probably, but I think his geometry could give Loma some trouble.
Oh man.
But I
He's
mean,
not. He's not skilled
what?
enough. It's not. You got to have some skill to fight Loma. Like you just
Well, I
can't just
mean,
be.
Linares threw. He feinted a double jab and threw a right hand, and that was enough to knock him down. And that's basically, like first year boxing shit. So
But Linares has the threat of skill. It's like
I
okay.
mean, Kami
It's
has
like
a
I'm
ton
gonna
of
put it like
power
this.
though.
It's
Kami
it's
has a
like
ton
this
of
though.
power.
If Kobe has you on the perimeter
Nah,
and he hits you with a jab, hold on, let me finish it. If Kobe has you on the perimeter and he hits you with a jab step, you're gonna back up. Why? Because you think Kobe might take you off the dribble. You never know what Kobe might do. He has a multitude of moves he might do. So you're gonna fall for that jab step. At the same time, if you have a guy like a Rick Fox on the or somebody else that's on the perimeter and he hits you with a jab step, you're not going anywhere. Why? Because he doesn't have a multitude of moves, so he can only do one or two things. You can't compare Linares landing the punch with Kami. Kami doesn't have the same toolbox, so I'm not guarding the same thing. I'll be prepared for everything Kami has. He only has like 2 or 3 punches.
but so in that comparison, comparing Loma to Kobe is kind of mad disrespectful to Kobe, and I'm not a Kobe fan like that. But I think him versus Kami would be a good, that'd be a good fight because
Man,
we
that wouldn't be a
see,
good fight, man.
so we could see if Loma could actually sustain power at 135.
Man, come on, man. Richard Kami is not a fighter that Lomachenko should be fighting.
Anthony Corolla wasn't.
I mean, Lomachenko shouldn't be at 135. Mikey Garcia called him up there. He should have been at 130. We were cool there.
So
Lomachenko said that.
have him
So this
fight.
division it was already devoid anyway. That's why he shouldn't have went there. He should have stayed at 130, where Tevin Farmer is, where Tank is, and all that. Y'all
Tevin
wanted him to move up
Farmer.
to 135.
Tevin Farmer would be no threat. Tank would be a threat. Who's the other dude? 130. Burchell. Pat, you know this.
Yeah, Burchett would be a threat too.
Man, all three of them dudes are better than Richard Kami.
Yeah, for sure. But Richard
All
Conte
three of them
has
dudes would
knockout
beat Richard
power.
Kami, as a matter of fact. All three of them would beat him.
Mm.
All three of them would beat him.
But anyway.
He lost to Shafikov. You got to remember that he lost after he fought Robert Easter. He don't only have one loss. He's already lost to Shafikov. He's a limited fighter. Power is cool, but y'all can't just keep falling in love with power because power, you have to have skill behind the power. Richard Kami doesn't have the skill behind the power.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be just, a good fight for Loma at 135. At least one of the best available without dipping into the Devin Haney talent pool because you don't want to rush him along too fast.
He's
But,
the only one with a belt left.
huh?
Kami's the only one with a belt. Other than that, Lomachenko has no one to fight.
That would be the saddest. What's it called? What's it called when they have all the belts? Undisputed championship ever. But yeah. But anyway, so it's the last few minutes. Did y'all watch Oscar Valdez versus Jason Sanchez? If so, what's your thoughts?
Like I said, I mean, he performed.
That ain't it. That ain't it, Chief.
He performed better, but it's just like, well, something is still off, and Moss, me, Maul, P, all saying it. Like something's not right with Valdez. He won, but I mean, he should have won a little bit more convincingly than that. I mean, that dude should have been stopped, like the Italian dude that he fought earlier this year. Something is still off of Valdez.
So,
It's just trying to put my finger on like what.
So, Pat, you don't think that he lived up to his potential, P?
Eh,
Speak your cloud, dog.
Excuse me.
Anyway, so P went AWOL. News. Did you see the Valdez Sanchez fight?
The Valdez Sanchez. Nah, man. I ain't watch Valdez fight, man.
sorry,
I'm not about to
I'm
watch.
back.
All
I'm
right,
back. I
Yeah.
mean,
P.
Valdez he just looked off. There's just like I can't. He didn't look sharp to me. I expected him to look a lot better than he did. It just I don't know what it is. It seemed like he's a little off. I can't really explain it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not. It's definitely not hating. It's definitely
Yeah.
something was like me, Pete, and more all saying that he didn't look good, like how he should look against someone like Sanchez. You know,
Yeah. So,
He's Then he was talking about that he think he's about moving up.
which would probably be a mistake.
so I scored that fight 9-3 with a knockdown. And there were times at the fight, specifically in the 12th and 11th round, where Valdez caught a lot of clean punches. So I think that's what you guys are referring to, because for the first good portion of the fight, to me, Valdez was dominating. He even knocked Sanchez down like pretty emphatically. But I can see that Valdez is playing it a little bit careful. Do you guys think that him training with Eddie Reynoso is the byproduct of that, or it's the Scott Quigg thing just kind of lingering?
I mean, it's probably. I think he's trying to suppress his actual wild style. I think he's really trying to make an effort to actually think instead of going to war. Because I mean, I think he knows that those wars are probably deteriorating him. So I think it's probably something between like, damn, I should really just go all out on Sanchez and just and just try to like put him away. But I think Reynoso's just trying to make him calm down, make him think more, and that could possibly be the reason for that performance. Why
I think, Pat.
Let me ask y'all this. Let me ask you this. With Valdez talking about moving up, man, I'm not about to baby this dude. This dude got 26 fights. And the only reason he's out because he wanted to go to war. How does he even consider moving up to 130, knowing that he signed the top rank? So of course, Bob Arum will most likely put him with Jamel Herring to get that belt. But Miguel Burchell is there as well, and he's a top ranked fighter. How does he think he's going to move up to 130? And if he couldn't take that punishment that he took before, how's he going to go head to head with Burchell, who's a much bigger fighter already, who's already
Exactly.
finished the
He
career of
can't.
Francisco Vargas,
He
ended his
can't.
career.
I
Like
think
so,
that
like with the way that he's fighting now, and the fact that he needs to be defensively more responsible, and the fact that he's thinking of moving up to 130, I think Valdez's career is ended before his 30th fight if he actually gets in the ring with the Miguel Burchell. That's my prediction.
I think that
I think it's over.
I think Valdez needs to decide if he wants to be a Mexican fighter or a hybrid Mexican fighter. So he needs to either get all in with Reynoso's game plan or, just do his thing. Because there were times in the Sanchez fight where he wanted to go to war, and you could see that there was just a little bit of hesitation in his mind that caused him to get caught a couple times. Not like caught to the point where it affected him more than one time, but caught clean punches.
right.
So I think that Valdez at 130, against a Herring, a couple dudes like that, would actually be really great for him if he buys into the Reynoso's philosophy. And I'm not so sure about that because you see when he gets flustered, and by that I mean he gets hit, he wants to fight. Like he doesn't want to box, he wants to fight.
Right.
And I say that as Valdez being part of the smoke squad, one of my favorite fighters. If he doesn't stick to a specific mental game plan going into a fight, it has shades of another one of my favorite fighters, Tim Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov. You know, you step into the ring with a dude that you don't know that much about, and it turns out instead of fists, he has bricks inside of there, and then, you know, your whole life changes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, well,
It's good. It's going to be interesting to see how Valdez goes forward. I mean, I know part of the reason obviously he wanted to go to 132 because he says he's having trouble making the weight. So that's just another thing. But I mean, it would suck for him to actually go, but at least get an actual fight. You know, getting a big fight at featherweight. I mean, some things should at least pop at least, so at least he has some momentum going to 130. You know, instead of just saying, "Hey, I just fought Jason Sanchez. Let me go to 130 and go after Herring or someone who's actually a naturally bigger fighter." You know, I just think that's
right. His Herring moved down from 135.
exactly. You know, I just think that's just the. I think it's timing. I mean, 130. I mean, he'll go to 130. But I think it's just the timing that he just needs to. He needs to do it at the right time.
I think that
Yeah.
I think Top Rank should make Gary Russell Jr. versus Valdez.
No,
Whoa, hold my breath on that.
man.
Well, I
If
mean,
anything, man,
no.
I'm
So
gonna.
Kerr Stevenson, that's the thing. It's like, yo, do you put someone with 15 fights or whatever against a dude that has been like life and death and like through that shit?
Oh yeah, Stevenson is part. Isn't he like? Doesn't he have a high ranking with the WBO?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
he's the man. I believe he's the mandatory.
He's fighting an eliminator, I think, or no. I don't know if it's his next fight to eliminator fight, but I think he's like right there, like right on the cusp of being the mandatory.
Yep, Frasco Valdez.
So I'm guessing if Shakur wins this fight this July, then I'm pretty sure that may actually be the fight to make.
Make it happen.
I'm picking Stevenson.
yeah, I think it'd be
I definitely
Me too.
pick that.
a good fight, just a little bit too early for young Machiavelli.
I'm gonna say this, man, and then we're gonna repo episode 58. Shout out once again to Mikey Garcia for ruining Lomachenko's 135 run, for calling them out to come up to 135, knowing that he can't make 135. Like, what's the whole point? So,
No,
shout out to Mikey Garcia for that, and for him
Loma
becoming a bag chaser in the GGG. You know what I mean? With that being said, though, I'm gonna go around the rings. I'm not gonna end with getting the last word in and not being fair, especially when we got a Mikey Garcia fan in the area. So I'm gonna go around the table one more time, let y'all get y'all last words in, and then we out.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your boy Smoke. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Free Smoke Boxing. But what I want to tell you has nothing to do with boxing. Look, be a kind person, be a positive person, pay it forward. There are people in this world that can use your help and positivity. Give it out because it requires nothing and just to be a good person. So do that for your boy Smoke. I'll be a happy person. One.
Yeah. What up, y'all? It's Pat Scorpion, the New England representative, and I've got two things to say. First, rest in peace to one of my favorite rappers from one of my favorite groups, Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys. I'm saying, fortunately, he succumbed to his pancreatic cancer. Vicious, man. It was vicious cancer, man. It was only like 51, 52 years old, man. So, like I said, rest in peace. And then also, we continue prayers for recovery for Zab Judah, who unfortunately, suffered a brain bleed in his last fight on Friday against Cletus Selden, the Hebrew Hammer. It's sad that when you see, a fighter who's completely faded, but still taking these type of fights, and he ends up getting hurt. We're not too far removed from Superman's issues. So, hopefully, like I said, Zab will fully recover and, lead a fully productive life and hopefully no ring returns, and, we wait to see if he gets to the Hall of Fame. So, other than that, keep loving Pat Scorpio because Pat Scorpio loves y'all. All right, one.
What up, yo? You already know this is your boy P, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Bodega Boxing. And I want to second Pat Scorpio's sentiments about rest in peace, Bushwick Bill, legend. Sad he got to go. It was pancreatic cancer. Cancer in general is just a bitch. So, my condolences to his family. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to a legend. Also, hold your head, Zab. You're a New York legend. We love you. You know what I'm saying? Get better. It's just sad because, all this, bleeding the brain. I want him to make a full recovery and just, his time is open in the ring. We just got to, sometimes you got to just let it go. But, you know what I'm saying? These guys love boxing. So it's what it is. But hopefully he'll come to a, full recovery. He's out the hospital, thank God. I met him. Couldn't have been a nicer guy to me. Everybody around him. So, hold your head. Stay strong. And also, I just want to just say hold your head to Kevin Durant because I hate all athletes getting injured. And with the injury that he did with his torn Achilles, what I'm saying, is what it is. But, it's fucked up how all that. But, just stay strong, Kevin. You make it through.
Sir, shout out to Kevin Durant, man. My favorite player in the NBA since Kobe retired. Sorry to see that happen to him for sure. He shouldn't have never came back yesterday. I said that to my cousin before the game.
Because, they were panicking.
That shit was ridiculous. Imagine a boxer getting knocked out on May 1st and fighting on June 1st. Fuck that.
They should,
Joshua.
They shouldn't have brought him back. The man hasn't played in a month. He wasn't ready for any of the games going forward, but now he's magically ready for Game 5.
Right.
It's bullshit. And then the owner's crying crocodile tears, but he's crying fake tears because he knows he fucked up. And the doctor's fucked up because the doctors told him, the injury won't get any worse by playing on it. The fact that the doctor said that lets me know that their doctor is a scam artist. And I could see why Kawhi went for a second opinion to his own doctors and didn't go to the doctors for the team, because at the end of the day, those doctors are going to be they're working for management, not players. So they're going to give an analysis in the best interest of management, not players. So all around, it was just stupid and unnecessary. And that's what's fucked up about it.
Word.
Definitely. And with that being said, we're going to end the Fade Hour on that note. I'd like to thank all the fellas for stepping through and having a drink with me. Everybody that showed up and turned up with us for the episode 58. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button so that way you can know when we're on air. And we'll be back sometime later this week. I don't even know if we have a fight coming up this weekend, man.
We have plenty of them, trust me.
Schwartz.
This weekend?
Schwartz.
Yeah, Tyson Fury's fight is this coming weekend.
That's the problem.
I'm
still on the Wilder Brazil hype, the Joshua Ruiz hype, and then you get BiGGG Rose. That didn't really move my buzz meter. The Tyson Fury fight, don't move my board meter. I don't know. It's not really a fight. This is basically a showcase. The only thing that's going to be interesting, which we're going to have to talk about when we do another show this week, is whether the fight really is going to be for that WBO, like Tyson Fury is trying to say. Because if that's the case, that really messes up Anthony Joshua Ruiz during the rematch. And the WBO shouldn't split up their belts like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but that sounds crazy.
Yeah, we're going to get more into it.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, Bob's trying to get that WBO belt off of Ruiz's waist.
Yep.
Plus the IBF mandatory. So, that's 2 belts that could be stripped from Ruiz before we even get to the rematch.
Exactly, yeah. I don't like that because that really takes away from the Joshua Reed. Because even if Joshua lost the fight, cool, but let him get a chance to get all his belts back. Don't start stripping the winner when you see that we got the rematch lined up. That doesn't make any sense. Give Joshua a chance to get all 3 of his belts back, just like he gave Ruiz a chance to win all 3 of them.
Oh, it makes sense. I knew this was going to happen. It makes perfect sense. They're trying to strip away the belts from the PBC camp and then put them on more significant fighters. If you put the belt on the WBO on Fury. Now you have a belt. So when Wilder and Fury fight, they have another belt on the line. So the winner gets 2 belts. And then when Joshua comes to the table, now they can fight for all the belts. It's bullshit.
Well, Wilder got to win. Wilder already got a contract signed to fight Fury next, so if that WBO's on the belt, that gives Wilder the chance to have 2 belts around his waist, which gives him much more negotiating room at the table with Anthony Joshua, because he'd have at very least the same amount of belts as Anthony Joshua. He may not have the fan base in the UK, but what he will have is a perfect record. So, but we'll get more into that, like I said, later in this week. We're gonna wrap up this show. Like I said, when y'all tune in to us, we thank y'all for all the love and the support. This is Ringside Rave. It's your boy News. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at RSR_news. It's the Fade Hour episode 58, and we out.
1.